Hi everyone, it's Mel Power and welcome to episode 4 of our Small Business Bouncing Back series brought to you by the Maitland Business Chamber. I'm really excited today because I get to talk about my favourite topic, marketing, right? And I've got two Maitland well-renowned experts with us to share their thoughts on all things marketing, but also how it applies to what's going on in Maitland and to small businesses right now. So I'd love to welcome Cristen, who is the Managing Director of KISS Marketing, and also Salena, Avard, who is the GM or General Manager. Cristen, it's great to have you here. Thanks for popping in.
Thanks for having us.
My pleasure. Salena, oh, I love that clock. Look. Hasn't Zoom been the funniest things that we've been doing? I'm watching all these amazing insights into people's world and backgrounds.
This is my back deck, so. Yes, and I'm, hiding in a locked room in my home because children could run in at any moment.
It's very likely that children will run out here at some point. So.
I've been laughing at all the memes that have been going around on Facebook at the moment with, kids tied up and taped to the floor while mum and dad's working away. It's like, ooh.
Only a slight exaggeration.
Yeah, promise mine aren't taped.
Mine are all older and they sort of knock on the door at 4 o'clock and say, Mum, it's happy hour and we're cooking dinner. So
right. Awesome.
It's good. Thank you so much for popping in. And the first thing is I'm asking everybody that comes onto our little series is, how are you both?
Oh, look, Sal, you want to go first?
You go, Chrissy.
Oh, look, like everyone, it's been a really stressful time. COVID-19 is a situation that most of us have never lived through in our lifetime. So I think I'm doing well, my family's doing well, we're all safe and well, which is the most you could hope for at the moment. But to say that I'm not concerned for many, many people that are unwell and their families and their businesses and their employees and their livelihood, would not be true if I didn't say it wasn't concerning me.
Yeah, well, it is a concerning time. And as you said, I mean, it is something that's totally unprecedented. We're going to come back to that point in a minute. But Salena, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, in much the same way, I feel very fortunate that both myself and my husband have been able to remain working, which is really a privilege, which who would have thought we would be having conversations like that. But we are both very fortunate in the fact that we are able to work from home, and we have our two little people here, and everyone feels very safe and close, which is a nice feeling. But I guess from a KISS capacity, we're working with people and businesses who are having an incredibly difficult time, and those feelings are very real, and it's a challenging time for people. So while immediately we're pretty good, I realise that we're the exception to the rule.
Yeah.
And I guess, that really leads me into the next point. What are you seeing is some of the big things that small businesses are struggling with right here in Maitland at the moment?
Look, we're very lucky, as Sal said, for KISS Marketing being able to operate digitally. Our staff are operational. They're just operational remotely. So everything for us is full functioning. The challenge that we're seeing for other businesses and clients is that in some industries, they are not able to be full functioning, particularly the hospitality and any tourism-based industries are really, really suffering. So it's just helping them the best we can to communicate with their target markets, of giving them reassuring messages, talking to them about how they can not just survive COVID-19, but how they can then set up to thrive for the future. Because although pandemic has brought stress, it's also kicked a lot of people who previously weren't willing to get into the digital space, into the digital space pretty quick, and we've been able to assist them to do that, which is fantastic.
It is amazing. Yeah.
I think really challenging things, Mel, is too with small business. So often there are real friendships that underpin the professional relationships. And so when there are difficult decisions being made about you know, what the future looks like, and, you know, even the immediate. And I know some of the announcements that came in the last week or so have alleviated some of that stress. I just think that, you know, there's a real recognition that there are friendships that underpin those professional relationships, and, you know, that there's heartbreaking decisions having to be made day in, day out. So it's, yeah, so I really feel for those people.
Yeah, and look, as a business owner, you know, when you're hit with any financial strain, the decision to, you know, keep staff as long as possible, despite the revenue not being there, which, you know, is in some places the case, is one that I do know would keep business owners up at night. You know, and I would encourage employees, team members to keep those underlying friendships strong, regardless of what the outcome in business is for them and between them and their employer, because any employer is taking on extreme amounts of risk to their own livelihood and their own life, and they want to be with these people, but sometimes in situations like this, it's just not possible, and it's heartbreaking for those people to lose their friends, not just their employees.
Yeah.
I think it really gets back to the real sense of community that we have in, you know, hashtag My Maitland. It is a beautiful community, and there is, you know, we still have that small feel, even though, you know, we've got a lot of bustling businesses and a strong economic hub here. And so, you know, I guess that kind of makes me want to think about, well, we talk about unprecedented times, and you mentioned that, you know, when we first started chatting, Cristen. And the last time I think that, you know, maybe something like this had really impacted Maitland was probably for me coming up the 55 floods. I mean, what are your thoughts on that, ladies?
Yeah, look, the 55 floods, Sal, you've had more Maitland in your blood than I have. I'm an immigrant 20 years ago. So maybe you could talk to the...
I'm only 20 though, Chrissy. So
no, but your family before you.
I'm like Chrissy, I'm a 20-year immigrant too, Nelly Garner.
But what I can say is that in the 90s recession and even back to the Great Depression, there's data that actually talks to businesses and how they've thrived or failed after an economic recession and downturn. So even back as early as the 1920s, there was a documented case of two really well-known at the time cereal companies. One was called Post Cereal and one was called Kellogg's. Now, Post Cereal actually pulled back all of its marketing and advertising spend and stopped communicating to its target audiences during the Great Depression. And subsequently, Kellogg's grew by 30%, even though they were in that time, because they kept their message going in those days, obviously, by very traditional media channels. So now Kellogg's exists, and as far as I'm aware, Post Cereal doesn't. You know, likewise, in the 90s, in the fast food industry, we saw, you know, McDonald's decrease their spend in the 90s and subsequently lost 28% revenue. Now, Pizza Hut and Taco Bell actually increased their spend in the 90s recession.
Wow.
And Pizza Hut grew by 61% and Taco Bell grew by 40%. So the data...
I think our girths maybe grew at the same time then too.
Yeah. Look, the data through the ages has shown that, yes, we have to tighten our belts. Yes, we have to survive as businesses, and we have to be, you know, adequately meeting our obligations and doing what we need to. But stopping talking to our target markets, it is not the time to do it. If anything, your target market need to hear from you now more than anything, with reassuring messages that you are still there. You are still there to support them, to fulfill their needs and to make things happen. And we're lucky that we're in a digital time, and we're, you know, I might hand over to you, Sal, the opportunities that are there now to reach people whilst they are on their phones, they are on social media, they're on their digital devices at home, with time to look at them and hear from your brand and hear about your brand story. Sal?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, we have really been moving over the last, certainly 5 years, but particularly the last 2 years, where as much as a consumer buys your service or product, they kind of buy your story and your ethics and your company's structure and what you stand for and all of that sort of thing. So I think never never before has your story been more important. And I guess one of the really the silver lining situation at the moment is that we are living in a digital age. We've got at the moment particularly a captive audience. There are more people on social than there has ever been, you know, and they are a very captive audience at the moment. Love it or hate it, it's a reality. And so the really good thing about that is digital is an incredibly economical way to communicate with people. And so many of the things that I've been saying for as long as I've been around, Chrissy's been saying for as long as she has, and KISS, you know, really stands for, is about having authentic conversations with your consumers. And so at the moment, everything isn't sunshine and lollipops, and it's really fine to own that and to say that and to weave, I guess, positivity and a future vision into the communication that you're having at the moment. So nobody needs to pretend that it's all sunshine and lollipops. It's just not. And it's really fine to own the uncertainty, and it's very fine to say we're really struggling with decisions around staff, and we want to be able to service and maintain our amazing customer base, you know, but we want to be here for the long term as well. And I think just the more authentic you can be in the conversations that you're having, I really think that goes a long way with people. And I think the other thing that people really don't want at the moment, unless it is a critical service or something that people really need at the moment, I just don't think anybody has the appetite for a hard sell at the moment.
I don't think anyone has the appetite for a hard sell ever.
I mean, maybe you're stockpiling hand sanitizer or something. Maybe you can get away with a hard sell at the moment. Short of that, I feel like having, you know, telling authentic stories, I think weaving some humour and some lightheartedness in amongst it, all of those things, I think really give the consumer and your audience an understanding of the type of person that you are, of the type of business that you are, and how resilient you are in difficult times.
Yeah,
I'm sold. I'm sold.
Where do I start?
Look, the silver lining to this as well is that businesses that do have those authentic conversations, that do tell that brand story, and that do keep communicating with their target markets, once the downturn finishes, once this is all over, it's actually statistically proven will pick up their market share 3 times faster than those that just cut all ties and go into radio hibernation silence and do not, so to speak, and do not have those messages going out to their customers, whether it be through ads and on traditional media or digital or online, or just through having really authentic, honest conversations.
I think, you know, it's definitely, it's obviously, you know, I'm in the digital marketing world as well, and I do a lot of coaching on that, and I help take people, you know, from being offline to online. And one of the biggest conversations that I'm having at the moment is, well, if you're not strategically and, to quote you, Salena, authentically online, then you're invisible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I guess for small businesses out there that may be thinking, I've never really worried about marketing, I've never really worried about any kind of digital strategy, what sort of advice and support or tips can you give them to say, well, how do I make the shift from being offline to go online?
Are you happy for me, Chrissy?
Yeah.
Fight it out, girls.
I'm the digital girl. I love all the techie stuff.
Well, supposed to be born in the 90s. She's more tech savvy than my 15-year-old.
My husband often says I was born in the wrong generation. So, no, so I think the thing to remember with that is you don't have to do everything all at once. It's really fun to do baby steps. I think the other thing is to be really honest with yourself about which of the social media platforms are going to give you the best leverage. So if you're a business to business, and, you know, other businesses are going to be your target market, then maybe looking at something like LinkedIn and not worrying so much about things like Instagram and that sort of thing might be a better platform if you can only, if you just want to start small. And
Yeah.
then, I mean, statistically, Facebook is really off the charts in terms of the number of people that are on it and the amount
2 billion people. 2 billion people on Facebook. Your audience is going to be on there.
Yeah, I've actually got a link to a really interesting graph that we'll put in the comments that just demonstrates the usage on the different platforms. So my recommendation, if you're unsure, would be to go with Facebook. And it is very easy to set up to just start slowly. I mean, obviously the more strategic you can be, the better, but I think having some presence at this time is more important than than worrying about trying to be too clever. And I think in terms of websites, I can't emphasize enough how valuable websites are. It does still amaze me from somebody, leaving aside the fact that I work in this space, as a mum of 2 little people, the time where I get to do the things that are my life administration or discretionary, or that sort of thing, is at 11 o'clock at night when everyone's in bed and I have 15 minutes on my phone. And so from ordering blinds to, buying glassware, literally that's when I do it, and I do it all online. So if you're not on there and I can't do that, then my business, for example, is never going to make never going to reach you.
There's another part to that as well. So as any business, the marketing mix: price, product, place, promotion, people, physical evidence. Physical evidence is now online only. Not as many people are even allowed to leave the house or are leaving the house. So they can't go into the shop and look and touch and feel as much as they usually would. So getting that physical evidence right is so important. And the only place right now we can do that is online. So a strong website, strong social media presence, all those things are your physical evidence right now that are going to back up your product. And make people have trust and faith in what the service or the product they're receiving now or they want to receive in the future. So that digital presence is super important. And it doesn't have to be, if you're a business owner that's swamped in the day-to-day just making things get through now, places like KISS Marketing and other places are obviously there and can help. And, they should be doing it at a rate that's not going to cause more hardship, but in a way that's going to really help businesses get through this and thrive at the other end.
I love that. So we're moving into the final part of our chat today, and I really want to thank you both again for coming in to talk about this. It's a very, very important topic. So I guess the last thing I'd like to check in with you both around is, for those businesses out there that might be in that place of fear, like Post Cereals, that are thinking about taking their foot off the gas and withdrawing or retreating, what would be some advice that you would give to those small businesses in Maitland and the wider Hunter right now?
Now is not the time to be not communicating with your target audience who you care about. I'm hoping that most business owners feel about their businesses the way we do at KISS Marketing, and that's that we do the right thing and we love what we do. We're there to help people. So if you're a business owner that actually has a genuine care and love, which I think most of the Maitland businesses do for their clients and customers, now is the time you should be communicating with them your changes, having clear, concise messaging about, are you operating, how you're operating, where do they go online to interact with your brand, giving them reassurance, taking the time you may have where it is a bit slower to really think about your unique selling point and future proofing, so that when this all comes past, we can bounce back with the campaigns and messaging ready to go. But my advice would be keep talking, keep communicating through social, and make your marketing and communication with your customers a priority, so that they know you care, they know you still exist, they know you're okay, and that you will be there at the other end to supply the goods and services and products that they need.
I agree wholeheartely, and I do think it's a bit like the plumber with the dripping tap from the KISS marketing perspective, it's very easy to be focused on everybody else's marketing needs. But we've actually allocated a fixed amount of time each week at the moment, where we are working specifically on marketing KISS marketing, just in exactly the same way that we're recommending that to all of our clients and other people. We are practicing what we preach, and it's actually such a good exercise to do, because so often, I mean, it's the old cliche, but you're too busy working in the business to work on the business. But it is so true that when you actually take a step back and have a really kind of truthful discussion with yourself about where are we at and where do we want to be and what are the things that we've got to do to get to that point, it's actually been such a lovely exercise. We just started doing it last week, and just a couple of hours a week where you dedicate your time to doing nothing but thinking about where we need to be and what we need to put in place to get there is such a good exercise to do. And it's almost like a little bit cathartic when you just sort of think about the future rather than being so consumed in what's currently happening. So I think I would recommend that to anybody who can find the time.
And I would also say to business owners, think about the situation we're in and where you can try and tailor your products and services to help with whatever situation people are currently facing. So, you know, for Chris at the sign shop, the sneeze screen, what a brilliant idea that is helping businesses and keeping his guys employed and on the job. You know, for us, we're looking at slashing some prices of web development and digital startup packages to help businesses that aren't digital get digital really, really quick.
Yes,
you know,
that's important.
Really, as business owners, I would encourage you to try with your team to be as creative as you can right now, to think of what you can offer people during this time so that it makes life a little bit easier and everyone's a bit kinder to each other along the way.
Yeah.
I love that. So, ladies, thank you so much for popping us some great information there. And we'll be able to share the links for how to get in touch with Salena and Cristen if you're wanting some help with getting online and getting visible. And no, this is not a hard sell. These are two amazing women who are leading the way with heart in Maitland, which I think that's what we're all doing at the moment. We're all giving of our time to do what we can to help us bounce back from what we're going through out the other side and keep our local economy strong. So thank you both so much.
Well, we know that you're doing this in amongst a million other things. So thank you for the opportunity and for what you're doing for the community.
Yeah, thanks.
Let's catch up and have lunch and champagne when this is all over, hey?
Can I also just say a big thanks? You know, me and Sal might be here right now chatting, but we would not be able to do what we do for businesses without our team. So to all the guys out there that are working remotely, we know how hard you work. You know who you are. Thank you for being part of the KISS Marketing family and working hard. And thanks massively, Mel, for putting this together for the Chamber and for businesses in the Hunter. It's really appreciated.
My pleasure. And I know that there's great things to come for the Chamber. And for those of you that are watching today, Cristen is actually one of our Maitland Business Chamber executives, as well as doing her own marketing. And I want to extend a big thanks to the Chamber executive and wider community, because this has been a big team effort behind the scenes as well. So see you on the next show, everybody. Bye.
Bye.